Please go subscribe to the Rumble channel for Franchise Sports TV under the name FSTV22. Now, I'm using that Rumble channel for any purposes of me getting kicked off YouTube and also for more of my spicier joints. It's free as well. I have the freedom to say whatever I want to say as well. So go subscribe to FSTV22. That is Franchise Sports TV 22 on Rumble. So gather around, everyone. Gather around. I'm going at James Harden's head once again, because I ain't done with him. And he's still trying to find a way out of Philly. I think his career's done. But he's still trying to find a way out of Philly. I know he just turned 34 a week and a half ago, but to me, I think it's over for him. I don't think trying to run and gun to the Clippers is going to do it. I don't know why the Clippers want to mess up the chemistry to try to get this guy over here and just be the same exact thing that's been going on for his whole entire career. But I just want to go over James Harden playoff blunders, because not too long ago I put a picture up on my page talking about James Harden made it to the playoffs for 14 consecutive seasons. He hasn't missed the season in the playoffs yet. That is fine and dandy, but what has he done? I do recall, I don't even want to count his OKC years, because they were still young. I know one year they lost to Dallas. Not Dallas. The Lakers, his first time in the playoffs. Second season, they would lose to the eventual champion Dallas. I know in 2012, they'll get walked down by the Miami Heat in 5 games. He would still come off the bench. But when he first finally became the man, it's just been a legacy of failures in the playoffs for him. In his first year in Houston, they would lose to the Thunder, his former team, in the first round. It was only 45-37. Here we go. He led the way pretty much. Actually, the 3 losses that they had, he led the way. What does that tell you? Game 1 against OKC, they got their ass spanked. He only scored 20 points. Game 2 against OKC, he scored 36. They lost by 3. Game 3, that's a game 3, game 2 with me. Game 3, he had 30. They lost by 3. But they would win Game 4 in OKC, but Chandler Parsons led the way. They'll win by 2. Game 5, they would win. He scored 31. They would win by 7. Game 6, they lost 103-94. He only scored 26 points. Failing for the first time. And the next season, failures. More failures. They would lose to the Portland Trailblazers in 6 games. That was that famous Damian Lillard hitting that shot. And now he has Dwight Howard on his team. Both him and Dwight Howard tied for 27. But they lost in OT in Portland. Actually, they had the advantage, actually. Because that season, they was 54-28. 4th in the West. So they was playing that 5th seed. And I think I forgot who was the best team. It might have been the Spurs. Yeah, it might have been the Spurs. But anyways, moving on. I don't want to talk about that. Game 2, they would lose 112-105. He didn't even lead the way. Dwight Howard led the way. And Dwight Howard at this time still had some left in the tank in him. He did. I don't think he was 30 yet. Oh, but they would win in Portland, 121-116 overtime game. James Harden had 37. But then they would lose in overtime game, 120-123. James Harden had 28. They were winning again, 108-98. Dwight Howard led the way with 22. And when Damian Lillard hit that big shot to end it all, end their hopes and dreams, James Harden did score 34, but they would lose 99-98. And keep in mind, this was only the first round. So the first 2 years, he can't get out of the first round. All right. So 2014-15 season, they're a second seed behind Golden State. First, they won a division title in the Southwest, 56-26. Lost to the Warriors in the fourth Western Conference Finals, 4-1. But keep in mind, here's the thing about this. Keep in mind, him and Dwight Howard, he pretty much led the way in the series against Dallas. They will only lose one game in that series. They will gentlemen sweep Dallas in the first round. Semifinals was a different story. And this is why I say it's a different story. Because they played the Clippers. This is the legendary blow a 3-1 lead. They would lose the first game against the Clippers. Dwight Howard led the way with 22, 117 to 101. They would win game 2 in LA, 115 to 109. James Harden had 32 points. They would lose game 3 and game 4. Game 3, 124 to 99. Got their ass bust. I think James Harden might have got benched that game. I remember watching it. Then they would lose once again, big time by the Clippers. This is more detriment to the Clippers more than anything. James Harden had 21 points, 128 and 95. 128 and 95. I think he got his ass locked up and benched once again. And I think in that comeback victory, that the Rockets would have, I don't even think he played the rest of that game. He had 23 points, but I don't think he played that game. I think they pretty much Mike D'Antoni benched some of the starters, and they came back on the strength of Josh Smith and some others, if I recall. But James Harden had 23. In the closing game, he had 31, which they would win 113 to 100. And then they would get walked down by the Golden State Warriors. James Harden had 28 in the first game, but they would lose 110 to 106. They would lose 99 to 98. James Harden had 38. They would lose again 115 to 8. They got their ass bust. James Harden got shut down, only having 17. Game 4 was the only game they won. James Harden had 45. And that was 128 and 115. And in game 5, I said game 4, but game 5, 104-90. I don't even think James Harden was even involved in that game. Dwight Howard was even shut down, but he was the high man at 18. James Harden had 18 to 16. That run and gun defense, that run and gun offense don't do anything at all. And even this is when we starting to see James Harden as a shady type of dubious character. Because I think it was at that point, around this time, him and Dwight Howard didn't even eat with the team. They didn't even hang out with the team. They was amongst themselves, which is crazy. But during these playoffs, during the regular season, as to say, James Harden did score average 27, 7-1. Moving on. Another season of failure. 2015-2016 season, they didn't get out of the first round. They got gentlemen sweep by the Warriors. And it was an AC at 41-41. They sorry that year. Extra sorry that year. I remember that year perfectly. James Harden in the first game against Golden State, 78 to 104. 17 points. Game 2, 106-115, they would lose. James Harden 28. And the only game they won by 1, James Harden scored 36, but Dwight Howard grabbed 13 rebounds. And then they would lose the next 2, effectively losing, ending their season. James Harden in the closeout game scored 35, but that was probably a worthless 35 because they got their ass spanked, 114 to 81. So there's a pattern with this. Oh, it's losing. So I'm going to keep it right there. I'm going to catch part 2. You guys can catch part 2 later. Because I'm just going to recount all James Harden's shortcomings. Just to remind you that he is not that dude. So stay tuned. To be continued.